guys, today we'll be drafting a basic skirt, and this is the simplest skirt, the most basic skirt that you can draft. This will give you the basic knowledge to draft a skirt, and then from here we can go ahead to draft more complex skirts, but this is the most basic skirt that you can draft. So now you take your hip and the length of the skirt. You use the first line as your waist. So the first line as the waist, the next point that I've dotted as the hip line and the length of the skirt. Let me note this: if you did not take your hip line measurements on your clients, you can always use the basic measurement, and that basic measurement is for the average height. The average height is to work. But if the person is very tall or very short, then you know how to variate the measurements. But average size, like the normal height, not too tall, not too short, you can use 8 inches from your waist to your hip if you did not take it on your client. So let's continue. You will note your points, the waistline, that is what I'm trying to label, the waistline, the hip line, and then the length of the skirt. Those are the points that you see me measure like this. Then after that, you will come to your hip line. Then you divide whatever you have as your hip measurement by 4. You divide whatever you have as your hip measurement by 4. You can use it. You can do it on your tape measure, and you can use your calculator. I'm using my tape measure to divide it. Then you take the measurement. Then you divide it on your tape measure into 4. So that is what I'm trying to do here. And after getting your measurement, you will note it on your pattern paper. Note that you can do this directly on your fabric. I'm just using pattern paper just to show you so that it will be very clear. You can do this directly on your fabric. There is nothing bad about it. So then you come to your hip line. You take the same measurement as you have taken on the hip. You take it on the hem. So you then connect with a straight line. As you see me do, you connect with a straight line. Then you come to your waist. For your waist measurements, first you take your dart. And to take your dart, you use your bust span measurement divided by 2. That means if you have your bust span measurements as 8, you divide it by 2, that's 4. That 4, you take it on your hip line. Then after taking it to 4, you now take ½ inch on either side of your point. Then you come down on that point by 4 inches. The basic length of your dart for skirt is 4 inches. For front block is 4 inches. Let me explain again. You take your bust span measurement divided by 2. You note it. On that point, you go on either side by ½ inch. Then you draw the length of the dart by 4 inches. So that is your dart. Then after that, that is your dart. Then after that, after that, you divide your waist measurement by 4. Whatever you have as your waist measurement, you divide it by 4. Then after dividing it by 4, you add 1 inch as your dart allowance. Remember, we take ½ inch on both sides, then half plus half is 1. So whatever you have as your waist measurement, then you add 1 inch for that dart, then you take it on your waistline. So as you will see me do now, you take it on your waistline. So after taking it, note all these measurements that I am doing is without allowance, because allowance varies. Some people take ½ inch allowance, some people take 1 inch allowance, and some people take 2 inches allowance. So it depends on your preference and what you want. So now you connect the line to your hip line. You can see you have your basic skirt like this. So now on the side, you go up by ½ inch on the side. This is for skirts. If you are using the skirt to join to a bodice, that means if you are making a gown, this is not important. But if you are making ordinary skirts, you will have to raise your side by half inch. And then let me say this, some people go down at the center front by half inch, but me, I don't. Personally, I don't. So basically, you go up by the side by half inch, then at the center front by half inch. But me, I do not. You get? So that is it. Now you come to your hip line. If you want the skirt to be pencil, if it's not a straight skirt, straight skirt does not have any shape or contour from the hip down. But if you want a pencil skirt, you come down at that hip side by 1 inch. Then you go in at the side also by 1 inch, as you see me do. You come down by 1 inch from your hip, and then you go inside at the hem by 1 inch too. So you have your pencil skirts, and this is like normal pencil. It's not pencil. If you want it more fitted, you go in more than 1 inch. So I've gone ahead to cut out the skirt, the front block. So this is it. Now for the back, what you will do is just to make your borderline all through. You make your borderline. After making your borderline, you draw your zip allowance. So that's what I'll be doing here. So my borderline is 1. Sorry guys, I did not know that the camera did not capture everything, but I'll just try to explain what I'm doing here. So here I am drawing my borderline of 1 inch. Then after drawing your borderline, you take 1 inch for your zip allowance, because that's the only difference from the front block and the back block, the borderline and the zip allowance. So you note your zip allowance. In this case, I'm using 1 inch for the zip allowance. Then after that, you take the length of the skirt. So the length is what you see me take. Then you complete. I'm trying to complete the zip allowance that I took. So you connect the line with your ruler. Sorry, that place is not showing. You connect the lines with your ruler, and then you connect the zip allowance also with your ruler. Note, there are more contoured skirts than this. There are more contour skirts than this, but for beginner, this is how you start your skirt drafting. Okay, so there are more contoured skirts than this, but this is the basic skirt. This is from this knowledge you can contour and draw and draft rather any other type of skirt that you want to draft, but this is the most basic skirt that you can draft. So now, after you've taken your zip allowance, you just place your front block on that line. You've already left you will leave the zip allowance line. You just place it and then draw it out. That is it. It's just, if you want to draft it, you can draft, but this is just like the fastest way that you can use, so you not waste time. And like I said, you can do this on your fabric. So on your fabric too, you can just fold in your zip allowance, however amount that you want to use. You just fold it in, then you place your fabric on it, then you cut it out. That is it. And note, this is without allowance. I did not add any allowance on this skirt. So this is the simplest and most simple skirt that you can draft, trust me. And if you measure very well, you will get your perfect fit. Okay, so I've gone ahead to draw to use the pattern to draft it out so that it will not waste much of our time. Then after that, what you will do is to like draw out your lines so that you know which is which. You draw out your line, your hip line. Then I was trying to note the point. So the first line that I draw that you did not see is my waistline, and my hip line, then the hemline or the final length of the skirt. So you come to your side also to raise it by half inch. To draw your dart. And for the back dart, it is 5 inches. For the front dart, we used 4 inches for the length of the dart, but for back, we use 5 inches. Shey you get? That's just the difference between the front dart and the back dart. The front dart is 4 inches long and the back dart is 5 inches long, but the wideness of the dart is the same thing. It is half inch on both sides. So that's what I'm trying to do, half inch on both sides. But the dart length is different from the front and the back. So that part I'm trying to label is your zipper allowance. So that's the zipper allowance, and then you are through with your skirt. That is it. You just cut it out, and if you want to add your allowance, you can add it on your paper too. But if you don't want to add allowance, you want to add all your fabric, just like I am going to do, then you will add it on your fabric. And if you want to add the allowances on your paper, you can do that too. Thank you.